All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Doug Siravo Show, otherwise known as Conversations with Dougie, because this show is more conversational. It's more like a talk show. And today we're going to talk about the untold Johnny Football documentary on Netflix. And before I watched this, I was more like a critic of Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. You know, when he got drafted to the Cleveland Browns, I would say, this guy doesn't care. This guy just doesn't get it. This guy doesn't understand what he's missing out. The opportunity he has as him in front of him to play for an NFL team. Because he would miss practice. He would sleep in. He would drink. He would party. And if you watch the documentary, he did all that to get away from the NFL because his love for the game changed. And there were many factors into that. And his sister said it perfectly, that we saw a different Johnny after the Heisman. I think he was the first ever freshman to win the Heisman Trophy. First ever freshman. I think Tebow might have won it as a freshman. I'm not really sure. But everything changed for him. You know, and at first, football was everything to Johnny. But after the Heisman, it became like a job. It became a brand and a burden. And in Untold, Johnny said he played the game purely for fun at Texas A&M. The joy, the chaos, the improvisation. But once he won that Heisman Trophy, the national spotlight came onto him. The expectations and the media scrutiny made him feel like he was playing for everyone else. And it got to him. It got to him mentally. And there were quotes from Johnny in the documentary that made you think. And I quote, "After the Heisman, I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everyone wanted a piece of me. It wasn't about football anymore. It was about being Johnny Football." And this is another quote that stuck out to me because we don't understand what these players are going through mentally or what they have to deal with on and off the field. "I lost the love for the game when I felt like I had to be perfect for everyone else." And I also remember watching a podcast with Joe Burrow on the Nelk Boys. And he came out and said, sometimes I just want to play ball. Sometimes I just want to play ball. I got to deal with interviews, talk to the media, stop here and there. It becomes like a job. Now, I don't remember if that was his exact quote, but he said something along that line. Think about it. Think about what these athletes go through. Imagine playing in the biggest game of your life, playing in, let's say, the Super Bowl, and you lose. You're sitting in your locker. You're physically drained, mentally drained. Think about what went wrong, what you could have done better. And now you have to talk to the media. You have to discuss with someone about what went wrong. And you didn't really have time to process it. You didn't have time to process it. Now you have to deal with them. You have to deal with maybe Adam Schefter. You have to deal with all these podcasters, interviewers, sports media in general about why you lost the biggest game of your life. I know for me, if I lost the Super Bowl, I just want to hop in my car and go straight home. I don't want to have to deal with, hey, what happened there? Hey, what happened there? Do you feel like you were the reason you lost the game? I don't want to have to deal with that bullshit. And I think Johnny used everything in his power, the fame, the money, as an escape. Meaning, I want to get away from this. Like, think about it. He said this, I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everyone wanted a piece of me. And it wasn't, Johnny Manziel. It was about Johnny Football. The guy that brings fans into the seats. The guy that brings electricity to the crowd. He wasn't just playing the game because he loved it. When you're a professional athlete, you have that expectation on top of you now. You have that expectation on being the best you can be. And if you, God forbid, struggle, God forbid, go in a slump, the media, the fans, social media, it's going to come after you. It's going to come after you. It's the sad reality. And sometimes a lot of athletes don't want to deal with that. They just want to play the game. Which is why I agree with Johnny that it becomes a job. And you're required to talk to the media. Otherwise, you get fined. As Marshawn Lynch once said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. And there was another. Remember years ago, during his playing days, there was an investigation for him signing autographs. And the documentary highlights how A&M and the NCAA made millions selling his jersey tickets and broadcast deals during Johnny Football Mania. Meanwhile, and this shows how the NCAA contradicts himself. Meanwhile, Manziel was investigated for allegedly signing autographs for money. And this is what the narrator said. Texas A&M made $37 million off of Johnny Football that year. Johnny made nothing. And these are some quotes from Johnny. I saw my face everywhere. Jerseys, posters, commercials, and I wasn't seeing a dollar. The NCAA acted like I was the criminal for signing my name. They built an empire off of me, then tried to tear me down for making money the same way. And it had me thinking, Johnny Manziel is the reason why college athletes get paid today. And I also believe he's the reason why professional athletes get as much money as they can. I used to be against college athletes getting paid. But after seeing the Johnny Manziel documentary, Johnny Football, Untold, I support them getting their money. And it takes me back to my collection of jerseys. So I have an Ohio State Greg Oden jersey. Greg Oden. He wore number 20. Number 20 Ohio State jersey. Only difference with this is his last name isn't on it. So think about the money that Ohio State made off of Greg Oden. Think about the money that all these colleges made off of these athletes. No one is going into a Texas A&M game just because they wanted to watch a college football game before going partying. They were watching it for Johnny Football, for Johnny Manziel. Now, I have another jersey Another college jersey. Paige Beckers. What difference does it say? It has Beckers on it because she could get paid through the NIL. Beckers. What difference is it between these jerseys? Last name, no last name. Back in the day, you would see college jerseys with just the number and the team name on it. Now, look at this jersey. Back in the day in 07, 08, they had Tim Tebow college jerseys, but it just said 15. Now I buy this one, it says Tebow, Ring of Honor. What difference does it make if you have a Manziel jersey with just number 2 on it? Oh, because he can't get paid. So you know what? I applaud Johnny Manziel for doing what he did. And he got away with it. I don't see the difference in college athletes making money. Because when you think about it, those seats, those tickets are being sold and the seats are being filled because the fans are going to watch a specific player. No one cares about going to a Rutgers college football game. Now, if they had a big name quarterback or a big name receiver, those seats will be filled. So the fact that the NCAA didn't want Manziel or other athletes prior to that were selfish. The fact that they can't make money off of their name is selfish on the NCAA part. That made a difference. Johnny Manziel, I applaud you for doing that. Because that's honestly a disrespect to your name. If you're going to make millions off of me, then you know what? I better get a cut of it. I better get a cut of it. Think about it. I better get a cut of it. Number 2 jerseys, number 2 is my number. And you're going to make money off of my number. Also, think about it. Johnny Football t-shirts. Who is Johnny Football? And I have no right to make money off of my name, off of my signature. So I don't see the big deal now. I was a critic of it. I was a critic, honestly. Why are they getting paid? They're going there for an education, and they're going there to play ball and maybe go professional. And I used to be like, oh, these athletes are overpaid. Why are they getting millions upon millions upon millions? Why not? Why not? Think about it. These players are making the owners rich. These players are filling the seats. I get you could be a big fan of a team and you're going to be loyal and you're still going to go there. But no one's going to go there to watch some mediocre player play. I'm a big-time Giant fan. I haven't been to a Giant game in over 10 years. Maybe less, maybe longer. I don't know. Just because I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on watching players play like crap. I go to the Devil games because I love the team. Nico Heischer, Jack Hughes, I'm going there to watch these great players play. I'm going to Met games because I'm going to watch these great players play. So get as much bank as you can. There's nothing wrong with it. Get as much bank as you can. These players, especially in college, now it's legal. But Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, I think he prefers to be called Johnny Manziel, changed the game. Without Johnny Manziel doing what he did, I don't think he gets paid. I don't think college athletes get paid today through the NIL or however they get paid via endorsements. Texas A&M owes Johnny Football money. Because when you think about it, they have a new stadium. Would they have gotten that new stadium with or without Johnny Manziel? Would they? Probably not. Johnny Manziel put Texas A&M on the map. And how much money did he see from them? How much profit did he get from them? Yeah, he made money back in the day from his private or, yeah, I guess you could say private autograph sessions. He made money from that. Got investigated for it. Didn't get in trouble because I think the NCAA knew they were wrong. Which is why I like these Netflix documentaries, because it makes you think. It makes you want to. It makes you more open minded on certain things. I also watched a documentary on Malice at the Palace, and everyone blames the players because of what they saw. Like Ron Artest or someone came out, maybe Steven Jackson says, we're boys. Everyone thinks this is some type of brawl. And then the fan threw the Coke bottle or the beer. And of course, the whole big scene. But that's besides the point. Maybe I'll get into maybe I'll have an episode on that. But back to Johnny Manziel. He got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. And let's say he did get drafted by a team like the Dallas Cowboys. Imagine the media. Imagine the expectations coming his way. Dallas Cowboys got their quarterback. They got Johnny Football. Johnny's staying home in Texas. And imagine if he couldn't live up to them. The media would go after him. Radio hosts will go after him. And he's going to have to deal with it. And that really led to his disconnection from football. And his self-destructive spiral once he hit the NFL. Missing practices, sleeping in, going to rehab. And he confessed that he was trying to burn it all down. He wanted out. And a few quotes from him. When I got to Cleveland, I didn't care. I didn't watch film. I didn't study. I just wanted it to be over. I had a $5 million bender planned. I wanted to spend everything and disappear. I didn't want to live anymore. I was trying to self-destruct. Football wasn't fun anymore. I didn't love it, and without that, there was nothing left. Now it makes sense. It makes sense on why he did what he did. Because he just didn't care. He didn't want to be an NFL quarterback. He didn't want to deal with the national attention. He didn't want to deal with the media spotlight. And it goes back to his sister's quote. We saw a different Johnny Manziel after he won the Heisman. And that's why I think we need to bring awareness to mental health. We need to be advocates for that. Because everyone thinks, because you're a professional athlete, you have no problems. You have no worries. You're making all the money in the world. You're living the best life. You would think he was living the best life. You would think he was. But was he really? Every decision, every action that Johnny Manziel did was to get away. The Cleveland Browns eventually cut him. And that was the best thing he wanted. He wanted to be cut. He didn't want to have ties to a team. He didn't want to have to deal with the media. He didn't want to have to deal with what he thought he enjoyed as a kid. He didn't want to deal with football anymore. He just didn't. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but Joe Burrow said it on a podcast with the Nelk Boys. Sometimes I just want to play ball. He doesn't want to have to deal with all the media, all the signing of autographs. Realistically, professional sports, it starts to become a job. It starts to become a job. You're no longer enjoying the game. Some might do, but at the same time, how can you? Especially if you just lost the biggest game of your life, or you made an error that cost your team a championship, and now you got to deal with the scrutiny. You got to deal with the media. You got to deal with death threats online, because those do happen. And I believe that these documentaries should be shown in schools. People need to watch a documentary like Untold, Johnny Football. Because maybe more people will understand the pain that some of these professional athletes go through on the inside, that not a lot of them are open about. So I really enjoyed watching this documentary. I really enjoyed getting to know Johnny Manziel and his story. Because at first I thought it was just wasted talent. Really, that's all I thought. I said, why are you doing the things you are? I was a critic of Johnny Manziel, saying, get your act together. But what Johnny's story is about, it's about that system that chews up young athletes and profits off their fame. Almost every sport has a face for a certain amount of time. And for those 2 years, Johnny Football was the face of college football. College football was making money off of the Johnny Football name, the Johnny Football brand. And Johnny got investigated for doing what should have been done. He should have gotten paid. Because if that's my last name, if that's my name, if that's my brand, and you're making money off of it, and you're becoming a millionaire off of it, and I'm not seeing a cut of it, that's a problem. That's a problem. Why did it take so long for college athletes to see some sort of income? It doesn't have to be a salary, but it should be some type of commission, because Johnny Football brought life to Texas A&M football. Johnny Football was the reason why Texas A&M was in the spotlight in the SEC. When you have schools like Alabama, you have schools like Florida at the time. Johnny Manziel saved that program. And he did not see a dime out of it until he took it upon himself. That's the difference in watching this documentary. Everyone said, oh, Johnny took advantage of it. No. College football, Texas A&M took advantage of Johnny Football. And that's where I finish off. His story was not about wasted talent. His story was not about someone being irresponsible. His story was about someone trying to get away from the business side of the game. It wasn't just about loving the game and playing the game and having fun. The business side of it took away the fun from Johnny Manziel playing football. I'm more of a Johnny Manziel fan now than I was back in the day. This was a must-watch documentary, because it will wake you up to see the bigger picture. Trust me. Johnny Manziel, I applaud you for doing what you did. Technically, college football in the NCAA and Texas A&M took advantage of you and disrespected you, disrespected your name. Oh, here's a brand we could run away with it. I applaud you, Johnny Manziel. I truly applaud you. All right, thank you for watching or listening to this brand new episode of the Doug Siravo Show, also known as Conversations with Dougie, because that's where the show is going. It's going to be conversation-based, guest-based. So we look forward to having more episodes this upcoming year, this upcoming season. If you want to be on the show and you have a topic that you would like to talk about, send me a DM, send me a comment. I'd be happy to have you on. As always, the Doug Siravo Show is brought to you by our good friends at Unsolicited Role Models, the role models you may not want, but you may just need. We'll see everybody next time, and we hope you have a great day, and may God bless you all.